What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Serious. Wow, what the
fuck? What's up? It's your boy Kevin to YouTube shit. Hey man, we are listen to me. Turn. Tell you motherfucker, they doing outside big crip and the gang shooting outside shit, man. Free pass down, free cargo, rush your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Nevertheless, when I bring you down, I'll spike back. Nevertheless, when I tell you who you are, but also put yourself in a position to belong. Let's stay humble. Let's get a revolution on the moment. Kick your way first. Coming to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We got you. Alright. Boom. Today, motherfucker, so here outside big crip and the gang shooting outside shit, man. Gang. Go. Turn. The gang. Bruh. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep up to date what's really going on out here, man. There's a lot of BS that we gotta speak on. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna speak on that shit because, nigga, if we don't speak on it, a lot of niggas not gonna speak on it, especially correctly. You know, we got them coon and buffoons, and we got the racist people, and we got the motherfuckers, foreigners who don't understand us. But we got, the McDonald's murder. That shit was crazy. See, I know how we going against this shit, man. The girl, Afeni Muhammad, you know what I'm saying, and the McDonald's manager. So she took out the McDonald's manager because, you know what I'm saying, she said they was bullying her. And she wasn't giving no plate at McDonald's. The manager got taken out by the worker. So now we in court, and they got like $11 million, $8 million bond on her ass. Some family members came to the court with some knives. They were trying to take her ass out. But the people found out what was going on. And then also we got the arrest footage of her getting arrested after the shit. Bruh, this shit is getting wild. Let's get through it. Man, so y'all know about the McDonald's murder trial, man. But they got that bit like a $11 million bond or some shit. Crazy, ridiculous ass number. Bruh, she worked at McDonald's. Where the fuck you think she gonna get $11 million from the fucking Swiss bank account? The fuck?
Explain what a Frenchman is. Is it long?
Pause.
Those appear to be the incredibly chilling words of Afeni Muhammad, the McDonald's employee accused of murdering her manager in cold blood by allegedly stabbing her to death. She just had a very important hearing in her case where not only surveillance footage of the brutal alleged crime was played in court, a police interview has been published for the world to see, but it has been reported that a relative of the victim showed up to court with a knife, and that threw everything into absolute chaos.
Wait, what?
We're going to discuss right now. Welcome to Sidebar.
So she held the knife until the murder case? The hell?
Now, by the way, if you're watching Sidebar, you're watching Law and Crime, and you're in the content creation game, have you ever wondered how we're able to think that a relative of a woman who was allegedly stabbed to death by a coworker showing up at the defendant's court
that shit crazy.
With a reported weapon, that would be the wildest update, the wildest allegation in a story that we have been covering for months.
This shit is crazy.
There is so much to talk about right now in the incredibly disturbing and bizarre case of 27-year-old Afeni Muhammad. Now, this all purportedly started with Muhammad ranting on social media about her manager, Jennifer Harris, at a McDonald's in East Point, Michigan.
She's a bully.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. She's a bully. Somebody will have to do something about
Bullies
that.
Get bullied, nigga. Crip.
It's not fair. It isn't funny at all. So,
bullies get bullied, nigga.
She can keep being a bully if she wants to, but that is going to catch up to her.
But this ended with Harris, a 39-year-old mother of 6, dead. And authorities allege that on July 10th,
just because you put in some type of power, don't mean you can bully a nigga.
Harris after she said she was sent home early And according to
Choas
investigators, Muhammad left, sat in her car for a while, came back with a knife, and when officers arrived, Harris had reportedly been stabbed up to 15 times.
You know she was
13
mad.
to 15 times. And a customer with a gun had apparently stepped in. Zorro.com. And from fleeing,
Captain
that's the
Save a
allegation
whole
from
ass
authorities.
nigga.
She was rushed to the hospital, but later died from her injuries. Now, to give you an idea of what we're about to get into with these latest updates, this latest court hearing, I actually just want to go back real quick to what authorities laid out in a July hearing, what they claim happened on the day Harris was allegedly stabbed by Muhammad.
Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back." Muhammad was arrested on scene and the knife was recovered. Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside of her vehicle. When Muhammad returned to stab Harris, she entered the back entrance with a hooded mask over her face in an attempt to conceal her identity and attempted to flee the scene after the stabbing, but was stopped by an armed customer.
So Afeni Muhammad was charged with first-degree premeditated murder, we're talking life without parole, and carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent. Our understanding is that amounts to up to 5 years in prison. She's also charged, apparently, as a habitual offender. That's a designation that stems seemingly from a prior stabbing conviction in Virginia.
Yeah, I think she stabbed a boyfriend.
She was given a suspended sentence in that case. She has been deemed competent to stand trial, which we discussed on a prior episode of Sidebar. But now we have to talk about what just happened the other day in court during Muhammad's preliminary hearings. Whether there's enough evidence for the case to move forward. Is there sufficient probable cause that she committed the crime? And whether this case should be remanded over to circuit court. There is a lot to discuss, including someone being taken into custody. All right, so let me bring in criminal defense attorney Neil Rockine to talk more about this. Neil, thanks so much for taking the time. A lot to get into. I want to start with maybe one of the most wild things to happen, okay? It's being reported that you have this relative of the victim, Jennifer Harris, who was taken into custody at the courthouse on Friday.
Because you can't keep the knife. You have evidence.
XYZ,
you should have brought it back up, bitch.
Relative, possibly Harris's teenage daughter, allegedly tried to bring knives into the courtroom. That this relative was taken into custody. The hearing had to be paused. The report is that after seeing the surveillance footage that was played the footage of the defendant allegedly walking into that McDonald's and proceeding to attack Harris, that this family member walks out of the courthouse, goes into the parking lot, and allegedly grabs 2 knives from a car. Now, it's being reported that a relative wrestled one of those knives away from her, but she was able to get back into the courthouse with 1 knife, and that she was tackled by police. The prosecutor's office is now
trying to kill the bitch.
Potential charges here. Talk to me about that in the sense that, look, you know, the Harris
she want to get back in blood,
is obviously quite emotional, particularly during this kind of evidence. Have you ever seen anything like that happening before?
I have never seen a case
she said she ready to get back in blood. What are they talking about?
Victim entered into or tried to smuggle into a courthouse.
I done seen motherfuckers try to fight the niggas who killed their people. Yeah, this shit crazy.
Whether it be the judge or the defendant or others, I haven't seen that. I've seen plenty of cases, as have you, where victims or relatives of victims have been in the courtroom and have lunged at, or gone after, or been aggressive with the accused. I mean, the Larry Nassar case comes to mind, where there was one of the victims' relatives, I think the father of one of the victims, tried to charge at Nassar, and the police had to subdue him. So we've seen many scenes play out like that, but nothing quite like this.
But they're ready to crash out.
It's helpful, Jesse, to also understand the size of this courthouse.
Yeah.
The courthouse in East Point is small. It's cramped. There's a one door in and out that leads to security.
This is a Cardi B fucking trial. They would have the biggest fucking courthouse.
Everything is out in the open, and there's essentially one single courtroom. So it is a really cramped, very tightly congested area. So if one's emotions are really high from the court proceeding, I mean, there isn't a lot to diffuse, a lot of time or space to allow yourself or to allow someone to sort of diffuse their energy. And the parking lot is right outside. It is cramped and tiny. So I can just imagine how
Hey man, say man, she let that blackness loose,
overwhelmed
nigga.
her,
Crip.
and she tried to sneak in some.
Hey, let's like that dumb bitch.
Into the courthouse.
And look again, if this is
And Julio tried that big dumb asshole. She a fucking retard. Like, bitch, why would you be smiling? You idiot.
Difficult emotional
You
moment.
fucking goofy.
The idea of bringing not just a weapon,
get your
right?
dumb
The allegation
ass.
is a knife. So
They might throw a
there's
book at her
something
dumb ass because
symbolic
this
there,
girl,
right?
because she
Talking about
dark
Harris,
skinned. Let's
who
be
was
honest.
stabbed to death allegedly by Fanny Muhammad.
She dark skinned, nigga. They might try to put the book at her just cause. Nigga, she look all types of sad, guilty.
Do you think the
They
prosecutor's
don't give a
office
fuck.
is
She
going to
look dark.
charge
She
her
dark
here or
skinned,
charge
nigga. You
this
know how
relative
they
here?
white people be.
I don't
That
know the
light
answer
skinned
to
bitch,
that.
they
I think
probably
there's a
gave her a
decent
little
chance.
time off.
If I
She
were
started laughing,
guessing,
big dummy.
I would say no. But again, that's just a coin toss. Look, bringing weapons into a courthouse is extremely dangerous.
Came with it. Yeah, I'm kind of slow.
We've seen stories of people that have brought guns into courthouses or into other
this girl, she dark
zones.
skinned. I ain't finna do that.
But a knife is an incredibly personal, offensive weapon.
I love my dark skinned women.
Right? And
I've
watched your other excellent coverage of this case, and you and other guests have talked about a knife being such an intimate way to attempt to injure or kill somebody, and someone else who could be caught in the crossfire. It could be a judge, it could have been a court security officer, it could have been a prosecutor, or even the defense lawyer. So when you bring a knife and you try to stab somebody or injure somebody, yes, you could be injuring other people. Is there a chance the prosecutor will charge? Yeah. I think the prosecutor could say, well, it's the victim's family and I don't want to upset things anymore and she's over it. It's a coin toss either way.
Yeah. Now, by the way, talk about that surveillance footage of Muhammad allegedly stabbing Harris being played in court. Detroit News reporting that the Harris family, again, incredibly emotional, but it was Harris's mother.
Dang, I wish I was in court to see what was going on. I like to see that.
I think that just goes to the emotional weight of this evidence, but how much impact this is going to have on the legal case, too. It's not every day that you have footage of a crime either about to be committed or being committed.
Not guilty, head ass.
You're so right. We rarely catch the moment, right? We oftentimes see
they be mad,
situations where people
we been that bitch all day
are
saying not
going
guilty.
into the scene of a crime or leaving the scene of a crime. But here you actually see the crime. So seeing your relative actually killed, I mean, those images will just never leave. They will haunt the victim's family. I'm going to give you one more. It's going to haunt
talking all that goofy shit. Because you're a man, you got kids. You thought you were better than everybody.
You're not just going to hear about the murder. You're not just going to hear about the aftermath of it or what led up to it, but we're going to show it to you. You're going to actually see a murder.
Yeah, I thought you had, because you got kids, you can just talk to anybody and do anything any type of way. Fuck niggas over and take that niggas money on and hold
acted out. They're meant to look real.
Got your ass
but this is the real thing. You're going to watch somebody die in real time.
Now, talk about things that are being played.
I mean, my stomach is turning just thinking about that, Jesse, as I'm just sitting here thinking about how that would feel to watch that.
That's all we trying to tell people, man. You never know what these niggas going through, niggas. Y'all trying to play with niggas' lives and money and time, nigga. Your ass tripping up easy, nigga.
If the allegations are true, somebody in a mask carrying a knife it's hard to grasp. Now, talk about the things that are being played in court. How could I not mention Afeni Muhammad's interview with police? Okay, now let me lay it out.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be sweet, huh?
After being read her rights, she apparently signs a waiver of those rights, and she seems to appear to speak voluntarily with detectives. And this is when she gets into a lot. So first she talks about how she apparently felt bullied by Harris, who made her clock out of work. She also accused her of making racist statements to her.
I believe it. Stop playing with these niggas. You never know what niggas going through, nigga. Think it's a game to get your ass peeled. Free this girl, man.
She's been learning for a while. She has been looking at it was one of the girls she was not messing with. Because now I guess I turned out to be what she wants to go, but she has been looking into for a very long time.
See? That's what I be trying to say, man. Motherfuckers think they just bully niggas. Until they run to a nigga who bullies, nigga, then it's up.
She always had comments like, I don't know if look out for the show.
Nigga, who the fuck you think you niggas be talking to, nigga? Crib, nigga. They gonna run back to your slave master.
And
Goofy
then
ass niggas.
she arguably
Coon ass
confesses.
Where'd you stay, Rder? Did you want to kill her?
Most definitely. Get that bitch.
Now, if you couldn't hear that when asked, did you want to kill her?
Most definitely.
She appears to say, I did. And you know what else is wild? In the interview, she appears to demonstrate on the detective how she allegedly stabbed Harris multiple times. The neck area.
She might go down as a
chest.
legend, bitch.
To say it's chilling is an understatement. Okay? To say it's
She
chilling
might go
is an
down as a
understatement.
legend, nigga.
And when asked, how did she feel after stabbing Harris?
She probably felt relieved. Happy as fuck, nigga. But I ain't gonna cap. Nigga like me, I would've left. I would've left the job, nigga. Nigga, I would've left that job so goddamn quick, nigga. Fuck that job, fuck that bitch, and I live my life. But you know what I'm saying? You gotta do what you gotta do.
Neil, my gosh, we talk about how police interviews with defendants can be really bad for a criminal defendant. Does it get
If a
worse?
motherfucker put their hands on me, then that's a different story.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But
This
on
is
some shit like that, you know what I'm
this
saying?
is
That bitch went to McDonalds.
Hiroshima or Nagasaki on the scale
you know what I'm saying? Cook. You know what I mean? Like that, because there's probably some good people who working at McDonald's going crazy.
Dangerous, horrible,
You get what I'm
consequential
saying?
interviews. Look, she's painted herself in.
A bitch put their hands on me,
The
though. That's a
danger with
different
social
story,
media
though. You put your hands on me, you never know what the fuck
talk
happened,
about
nigga.
their feelings.
That's a
They're
fact.
so open and share their feelings, and they allow themselves to be so raw in the present moment, where she said, I'm going to do this, and this woman is my target. And then she goes and does it, and then afterwards, she's caught by the police, and she says, this is what I did. I mean, besides herself, Jesse, besides taking a red ribbon and putting it on her and saying, here, prosecutor state, I've gifted myself as a defendant to you. I mean, she's essentially wrapped herself in a bow as someone who was guilty.
Now, I'm going to get into a little bit what her defense attorney said during the preliminary hearing, okay? We'll talk about it, see if it was effective, maybe gives a glimpse of where they're going to be going, talk about it. But let me just say, Macomb County Assistant Prosecutor Kumar Palepu, this is what he said in court as we're trying to summarize what the main theory is of the prosecution based on, you look at the police interview. Quote, there was no argument, there was no talking. When she was interviewed, she admitted that when she went in there to confront her, to kill her, that she intended to kill Jennifer Harris. And when she did this, it wasn't in a manic state. It wasn't some emotional outburst.
Damn, she did like
she
assassin.
came in calmly to do all these
She
things.
like,
She was prepared. Again, I'm
get
going to
that
get
man
into what
the
the
paint,
defense is in a
nigga.
minute. But Neil,
Nigga.
he's basically saying,
Gang
listen, there's no
goofy?
mental health defense. There's no emotional outburst defense
Gang
here,
goofy?
right?
Yes. He's saying that this fits the classic
Thought she was
definition
running gang, got
of
goofy ass killed,
premeditated,
nigga.
deliberative,
Gang goofy?
and deliberated murder.
Playing with niggas.
That she had a motive. She thought about it. She went into went into her place of work or with a mask, so she had the time to actually deliberate and attempt to intentionally conceal her identity.
It wasn't a white
Then
person.
she went inside very calmly, sought out her
controlled by
target,
a coon ass
and she ended up attacking her target, the very person she mentioned in the video, and that there was no sign of any sort of. She wasn't thinking that this person was a religious figure, hallucinations or historical figures weren't speaking to her. There weren't voices in her head. She was acting out.
Oh no, bitch!
The plan
that
she announced on her Instagram, and then as she acted it out, she deliberated over it and premeditated about it, and then fulfilled it. I mean, he's making out a case for classic first-degree murder.
Damn.
And if there was a question about identification, after all this, put that to the side. We got to talk about witness testimony. That was very crucial during this.
She a real one though. I ain't gonna cap.
You had a witness testify Deborah McMillan, who was apparently there during the alleged attack. She testified that
Some of these
Muhammad
niggas
was
don't even
angry,
need to
that she
deserve
was
to be
yelling
taken
at
out.
Harris for
Cause
clocking
look at
her
their
out,
lives, you
reportedly
know what I'm
because
saying? Like,
Muhammad
they
failed
lives
to
says
do her
enough.
job.
She
There were
worked at
allegations
McDonald's.
of
She
her
was a manager.
playing
She had
on
like
her phone,
18
being
kids.
late. You also had a former McDonald's
Like, her life
employee
was
who
already hell.
testified
You know
about
what I'm
what
saying? Got
Muhammad
big ass
told
motherfucker in that
Harris. Quote,
motherfucker.
she seemed very
Get the fuck
irritated,
out
and
of
she
shit,
started
bitch.
off by saying, quote, so you clocked me out without telling me? You reap what you sow. You
That's a
better
fact.
watch your back. I'll be back. You had a truck driver
That's a
testify.
fact.
As he was
That's
unloading
a
a
fact,
delivery,
nigga.
Muhammad returns back to the restaurant and says, quote, hi, I work here, and then pulls something out of her bag. And by the way, back to McMillan,
She a real
she
nigga.
didn't witness the alleged stabbing herself, but testified that she saw someone running by
Free this girl,
wearing a,
man.
quote, Friday the 13th
Crazy as hell, though.
mask,
I ain't gonna cap.
saw Muhammad
That
with
was
a
her second
knife,
attack.
then got
Then
to the
somebody
front of
else
the
said that they feel
restaurant
like she was
and
gonna take
sees
it out
Harris lying on
in
the
Taco
floor
Bell.
bleeding out, and even tried to save her
crazy.
life, by the way, by pressing towels on the stab wounds. And this was really heartbreaking. Apparently, according to her, Harris said to her as she's bleeding out, Deb, please don't let me die.
Now you gone, bitch.
Now, Neil, while ID may not be a big issue in this case, it is interesting to hear these different descriptions. And
it called
you
him
had a
4K.
coworker, Neil, who
It's called
testified
him 4K.
that she knew it was Muhammad.
Release the video.
Because not only did she recognize the work uniform underneath the zip-up hoodie that the assailant was apparently wearing, but she looked at the assailant's nails.
She probably got
was
away
holding
with
the
it.
knife. And
At
then
least
the nails
a day
looked
or
like
two,
the
'cause
McDonald's McFlurry
that nigga would have
cups, you know,
gun.
with the red and yellow McDonald's logo on them. And she noticed earlier that morning that Muhammad was wearing those themed nails and complimented her on it. So you have all of these witnesses who are helping with the identification, Neil. You have direct evidence of
Them niggas hate this
identification,
anyway,
which
niggas.
is eyewitnesses
Snitches,
directly
pussies.
identifying her as the person. You have circumstantial evidence, both before, during, and after, of individuals who are going to identify pieces or things or connect dots that lead back to her as the person who's responsible. And juries
She
are
had a
told
reason.
that
A lot of
there
these dumbass
is
niggas who don't do
identification is
dumbass
always
shit
an
don't be
issue.
having no
The
reason,
state
man. They
always
just
has
be
to
trying to
prove
act crazy,
identification.
nigga.
But then
They got
evidence
tired,
takes
bitch.
two forms.
You playing my time, my
Direct
money,
evidence
and my
and
emotions, bitch. You gotta
circumstantial
go.
evidence. In this case, the state has both.
What are they talking
If
about?
the defense attempts to make this case about identification, this will be a travesty compounded on top of the tragedy. There's no way that anybody could rationally, competently, or reasonably argue that she wasn't the one who did the stabbing. Just not. It's not reasonable. It's not feasible. There's way too much evidence. Now, I want to play something here from her defense attorney, Joshua Jones. And he seemed to suggest, as for why the prosecution didn't meet its burden to bind the defendant over for trial, so basically saying that during the course of this preliminary hearing, there's not enough evidence, there's not enough probable cause. For count one, first-degree premeditated murder, Jones appears to argue, well, there are certain aspects to this that don't necessarily show that she bought a knife or wore those clothes with the plan to kill. So seemingly trying to distinguish between first and second-degree murder.
But I don't want the court, nor do I want the facts to be insinuated that it was bought for this purpose, for this incident. It's a hooded mask. And again, I'm just identifying some, I don't want to say, clarifying some things on what we heard in facts, because it was very clear that it was some sort of zip-up hood that went over the face. It's not a separate mask that was, bought for this purpose. It was attire, specifically because we're talking about the difference between, at least for today's purposes, first and second degree. And there's that identification of premeditation or preparation to get you to first degree.
As for count two, carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent, Jones appears to suggest that there's insufficient evidence that the knife was 3 inches or more in length. Now, why does that matter? Because if you look at the statute in the state, it reads, a person shall not, with intent to use the same unlawfully against the person of another, go armed with a knife having a blade over 3 inches in length. So it actually lays it out there. So here's what he says.
The blade length must be over 3 inches. And the only thing that we necessarily had from Ms. McMillan is that it may be between 5 and 6, and she's just referencing the size of the knife. We don't have anything specific to the blade.
Neil, what do you make of those arguments? I mean, they feel like, hey, I'm just doing the best that I can possibly do given the circumstances, but I'm trying to say that the prosecution hasn't met the specific burden with those specific elements. What'd you think of those arguments?
Not much. And I don't have anything against his lawyer. This is, to borrow from a scene from The Wolf of Wall Street, this is a Grenada, which was that this is an unlosable case for the state. It was like an unlosable war when the United States went into Grenada. Why do I say that? Because they can attempt to make an argument that somehow, think about it, why did she wear the mask? Why did she go back? Why did she enter into a back door as opposed to into the front door? Why did she have to identify for a truck driver that was dropping off materials? Why did she have to identify herself as an employee? Because she felt awkward entering with the mask. You don't show up for work in a mask. You don't show up for work and go through the back door and to justify to someone why you're there. The only reason you do it is because it looks awkward and odd, and you want to be able to get past that person without them stopping you. I don't put much stock in the lawyer is doing the very best he can with the facts that he's given. If her argument is, and if the lawyer's argument on her behalf is, well, she went back to confront the victim and didn't have any malevolent or harmful intent. And then during that conversation, she rose to the heat of the moment. It just overcame her, and she ended up losing control of her emotions uncontrollably. That would be their argument, that this was second degree and not first, right? Their argument would be, but the facts undercut that. The Instagram, the post, her going there, the mask. I don't care whether the knife was 3 inches, 3 feet, or whether it was a quarter of an inch. The fact of the matter is that you can be accused of a variety of different crimes in Michigan for carrying a weapon, even if you don't have the intent to use it unlawfully against another. You could still be prosecuted for carrying a concealed weapon, or even if that charge fell, that is not a dispositive. It doesn't provide much of a victory for the state. It's like winning. It's like scoring a touchdown in the last minute of a game when you've already lost. You're behind 99-0. It doesn't do very much. The reality is that even if that one count were to be dismissed,
then she got more coming.
She still brought a weapon and used it against another at work. So I don't put much stock in those arguments. I think the lawyer's trying. He's trying to do the best he can with a very, very, very bad set of facts and a very bad hand.
And look, this is maybe a glimpse of what they may try to argue. Because look, when it comes to second-degree murder in Michigan, it's all other kinds of murder, and they're really looking at what the punishment should be. Because yes, it could be for second-degree murder punishable by life in prison, but it also says, or any terms of years in the discretion of the court.
She might get 15 years.
Room here for a lesser punishment.
Yeah,
that's why they're trying to go for second degree here, or at least try to entertain that idea. But by the way, real quick, the testimony of this witness I thought was really interesting. The truck driver, this customer at the drive-thru, who reportedly took out a gun, chased the assailant, allegedly Muhammad, even testified that the hoodie came down as he was chasing her, showed her face. Anyway, catches up to her, holds her at gunpoint, and she allegedly says, I have a little brother to live for. And according to him, she said, they kept bullying me. Neil, another important witness that I didn't even mention before.
I mean, I don't know how many.
That's what I'm trying to tell y'all niggas,
nails in the coffin we can identify, but there are 15, 20. Each of these is a dispositive piece of evidence against the defendant. Look, we defense lawyers are sometimes given a very bad set of facts. And our job, whether we like it or not, whether we like the facts of the case or not, is to try to defend the accused as best we can. We come up with arguments that we think at least will test the state's case. And so I don't find much of the evidence that we've discussed so far Jesse, to be very favorable to the defendant. They may try to pick at little things here, and I hate to just sort of to dump on her, but this is a terrible case to have to defend. I do not envy her lawyer in any respect.
But let's talk about what happened. So Chief Judge, the Honorable Kathleen G. Galen, made a determination. So what did she determine in terms of probable cause? Is there enough? Well, first, when it comes to first-degree premeditated murder, she said the victim was found on the floor in a large pool of blood, multiple stab wounds. A homicide occurred by criminal agency. You have a witness, a manager who heard commotion, found Harris on the floor bleeding, that there was intent, there was premeditation, that Muhammad said in an interview that she left, became angry, that her boss had clocked her out. She went to a park, she prayed, she thought about how she was wrong. She admitted that she possessed this long chef's knife. The knife was clearly over 3 inches. And the judge says the evidence has shown that she wanted Harris dead. Quote, I felt like I wanted her dead. And that in the interview, Muhammad, while demonstrating how the stabbing occurred, she has these nails, which again, this form of identification. And this all demonstrates a cool reflection. She returns back to the McDonald's. She knowingly carries out a plan, wears a hoodie mask. As a witness had said, it's kind of like a Jason mask, another said a ski mask, and that there is more than sufficient evidence that Afeni Muhammad, the defendant, killed the victim, Jennifer Harris, with premeditation. So the people met their burden. That count is moving forward. Count 2, carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent. The judge says the defendant possessed a long chef's knife, admitted that she brought the knife for purposes of stabbing the victim, stabbed the victim with the weapon, and found that there was probable cause that the defendant carried a dangerous weapon with the intent to use unlawfully against another person. The people met their burden there. So in other words, for both counts, they're binding over to circuit court for further proceedings in front of a different judge. Neil, talk to me about that. It's a lower bar there. It's not surprising the judge ruled this way, right?
It's not. The Michigan's preliminary examination hearing is really the requirement that there be probable cause established to support a charge. It's the lowest burden that we have. It's nowhere near beyond a reasonable doubt. It's nowhere near clear and convincing evidence. It's nowhere near even a preponderance of the evidence. They don't have to show that it's more likely than not that she is guilty of these crimes. All they have to do is show that there's some evidence for which to reason to believe that she's guilty of these two offenses. So it's a very low burden. But I think what the prosecution did during the hearing was lay out very much, it kind of gave us a preview of what the facts of the case are going to look like. And you can imagine, and there are some cases that we've seen where a prosecutor lays out their case in district court, attempts to meet this low burden, and they barely get over the hump. It's very narrowly make it over. And we begin to sort of envision what's the trial going to look like, because we can't see how it's going to be much better than this. This, though, is a case that not only did it clear the burden, clear that low burden, but we look and think, okay, if this were the only evidence the state introduced at a trial, would this be a compelling case that she premeditated, in other words, thought about, that she thought about, even for more than a second, that she thought about what she was going to do, and that she deliberated over it, that she had some time to reflect and think about it. And so the answer is, even if this was the state's case, I think that they would have even if the burden was just met in district court, this would still likely be a very compelling case at a trial beyond a reasonable doubt.
So now it goes to Macomb County Circuit Court. There is an arraignment scheduled for December. We will see as this heads towards trial. There's obviously going to be motions that are made beforehand. But this is, by all accounts, proceeding to the next stage. Just a very disturbing, sad case. Neil Rockheim, thank you so much for taking the time. Good to see you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Gang, so we got the body cam footage of arrested fatal, you know what I'm saying, what happened with the stuff, man. It's crazy.
I got sent home early yesterday. I got sent home early today by the same person. I'm telling you, she's a bully. Isn't funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in the store, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. She has no respect. Oh my, so that is the defendant in the fast food stabbing case. She recorded that video for her social media after her manager sent her home for the second time. This is the manager, Jennifer Harris. She's also the victim in this case. She was stabbed to death, and police say it was by that employee. You just saw ranting there. Next witness up is the first responder who arrested the employee. Let's go back in.
And at some point in time, did you get a call around 9 a.m.?
Yes, I did.
And do you know the nature of that call?
Was a stabbing in progress.
And what did you do at that point?
I responded, lights and sirens, and then arrived on scene.
And was that location McDonald's at 179219 Mile?
It was.
And when you got there, what did you see?
I saw employees waving me down. I saw them waving and pointing to it would be to my left. I looked over to the left. I saw a black male pointing at a female that was located near a pickup truck. She was kind of not lying on the ground, but she was on her knees, rear end type of thing.
And how were you dressed that day?
Fully dressed, police uniform, badge, gun.
Did you have a body cam?
I did.
Have you previously watched that body cam video?
I did.
And based on your observations, does that recording accurately show what you saw that day?
Yes.
And is that is it a fair and accurate depiction of everything that you experienced that day?
I would say, yeah.
People, I understand there's a stipulation, but I moved to the foundation of what I believe to be Exhibit 1, Officer McLaughlin's body cam.
No objection. Very good. Exhibit 1 will be admitted by stipulation.
Thank you.
And you may publish with the court.
Thank you.
Do you want to have your client move over so she can see?
We appreciate that, Judge. Thank you.
This is not a playground.
Thank you.
But let me just be clear. This is nothing. It's not depicting the incident. It's after the incident.
That's correct. And actually, Judge, at the point where he may enter McDonald's, I'm having the video stopped and we'll just go on with testimony, please.
Thank you.
At the record, we're going to start the video at around 2:12.
So this man right here, when the driver just got my food, and out of nowhere, the person who passed me my food just started getting stabbed up on the neck of the kitchen. So I said, man, stop. Everybody in there running crazy. So I jump out, I said, man, stop. She turned around. She looked at me, I let her shot. She runs out there, I come around here from this side, she falls on the ground, I tell her, don't shoot to the police. So I just don't want to get right.
They threw her ass down like a football player.
We're stopping at 421. So at this point, can you just describe what we just watched?
I pulled in the parking lot. Like I said, I saw employees frantically waving and pointing. I looked to my right. I exited my car. I pulled my sidearm. I saw what I confirmed was the witness pointing. I assumed the black female that was on the ground, kind of in the sitting position next to a pickup truck, was our suspect from the stabbing. As I approached her, I could see that she had some blood on her. We had her on her stomach, and I handcuffed her.
Do you see that female in courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
And if you could just point at her and identify her by a piece of clothing?
She is on the far left of where I'm sitting. She has brown or beige garb on.
All right, identifying Afeni Mohammed, the defendant in this matter, the employee at McDonald's accused of murdering her manager. And we know she was upset with her manager. She took to social media and ranted about it. And now that little video is going to become a piece of evidence the prosecution can use against her. Let's talk about how they'll do that. Let's bring in prosecuting attorney Matt Roberts, the chief trial attorney in the Muskegon County, Michigan DA's office. Matt, that video where she talks about and I forget her exact words. I'd have to have us re-rack the video and look at it again, but about someone's going to do something about it, I believe is what she said. When she's mad about the manager, somebody's going to do something that this is not okay. She kept saying this is not funny that she's being sent home again, saying that this manager is acting like a mom and not treating them as equals. What are your thoughts about how the state can use that little video against Ms. Mohammed?
Don't compromise quality insurance for savings.
Well, certainly it goes to her intent, right? To prove murder, and certainly it sounds like she's charged with first degree premeditated murder. You need to show that evidence of intent, and her words really speak for themselves. The fact that she's taken to social media, as you said, and described in at least some detail that somebody is going to do something, and then those actions are carried out. It really goes right to the heart of that intent issue. Just an absolutely fantastic piece of evidence for the prosecution to have in this case, along with the testimony there of that hero who tried to stop this situation and really just acted amazing under the circumstances here. It's phenomenal, really.
Yeah, he sure did. What a good Samaritan that gentleman is, you're right. I mean, how rare is it, Matt, for you to have both of these components in a case? You have the video evidence from the defendant's own mouth, as you said, that will support the intent. And then you also have this good Samaritan who holds her there and is a witness.
Well, it's really sort of the dream scenario for a prosecution to have in a case like this. Obviously, you hate it to be under these circumstances. This poor woman tragically lost her life for nothing, certainly for nothing worth getting injured or killed for. So it's a great evidence for the prosecution to have. Really fantastic case for them.
Sure is. Attorney Matt Roberts, thank you for your time and analysis this morning. We'll see you soon. We'll be right back.
Well, this is crazy, nigga.
She's a bully. I'm telling you. She's a bully. She brings a lot of negative energy in there. She always panic when there's a lot going on, and then she try to manipulate that and make it seem like we ain't doing something right, but we are working really hard and doing great. It's just the fact that she panicked, and I caught her a few times making a mistake, and she tried to hurry up and play it off. You know, nobody's perfect. It's McDonald's. It happens. You know what I mean?
Oh my. So that was the defendant, Afeni Mohammed, taking to social media right before the incident in question, where her manager at McDonald's, Jennifer Harris, was stabbed to death. There's a picture of the victim right there. Let's go back into the courtroom now. We're hearing the first responder's testimony about arriving on the scene. He just identified the defendant in the courtroom. Let's go back in.
By the defendant.
Becoming a homeowner should be exciting.
What was the next thing you did?
I picked her up. I started a prelim search.
But they trying to end this girl. They trying to end her.
Another officer came to me, handed over her to him, basically so he can finish the custodial search. After that, I walked over to the initial witness who was pointing at her. I believe that he was the one that most likely threw the shot. I walked up to him. I asked him if he had a firearm on him. He was talking to another officer. The other officer informed me that he has the weapon, it's secured, and then he gave me a brief statement of what he saw.
And then what was your next step?
After that, I walked back over to the officer that I handed the suspect over to.
Boy, they threw her after the gun. They want see these people are trying to be the police their own selves. They caught her and wouldn't let her go.
They needed gloves, so I handed them some clothes I had in my pocket.
And after you did that, what did you do next?
The next step after that, I was heading in to see if we could get anything out of the victim or her status.
And were you able to see inside and locate the victim?
We walk inside. Officer Hawkins was applying some medical care to her neck area. I located her. She was on the ground in a pool of blood. Looked like she was drawing her last breath. Just told them to continue to put pressure, and then I walked back up.
Did you see any wounds or injuries on her?
Not that I recall. I knew she had one on her neck, but Officer Hawkins was applying pressure to her neck.
Was there anyone else other than the victim and Officer Hopkins and yourself inside that area when you were there?
There was another employee to my left, but I don't know what the employee was doing.
And what were your duties after that?
I walked back out, tried to get a hold of my shift commander so he could order the DB here. He responded that they were already en route. Made sure that she was secure. She was put in the back of my police car. Walked back to Officer Krasuski. Had her ID. Checked her ID through my computer. Make sure she was attached into my computer area. Shortly after that, I walked out. The Detective Bureau started to arrive. We wanted to get them updated. My sergeant, my shift supervisor arrived. I wanted him to get updated. And eventually started collecting some witness statements.
And all that occurred in the McDonald's in East Point on 9 Mile Road?
Yes, sir.
No further questions at this time.
Everyone's crazy about football.
I'm just saying. Officer, I'm just thinking of if there are any questions that I have for you. And generally speaking, I know Mr. Pallop, who asked you about your duties, other than what you indicated on direct examination, after you had updated your sergeant or the detectives that had arrived, your only job task then was to collect statements.
Collect witnesses, statements, any type of look for any evidence if I could locate any. Just generally just make sure the scene is secure. Everything really.
Basically do the directives of whatever your detective or sergeant had told you about.
Yes.
Do you recall the specific individuals that you interviewed that day? Or would you have to refer to your report for that?
I have to refer to my report, but I did speak directly to two other witnesses that were located inside of McDonald's, kind of like a lobby area over, I would say, to the right of the front or the side main doors.
And I wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. You said two other individuals? And now, the time that you had collected those interviews, and again, this is me just kind of clarifying what you said on direct versus what you and I just talked about. Was that before or after your sergeant and the detectives arrived? Was that per their directive, or was that something that you did on your own accord?
I believe I did that on my own report.
And that's because you knew that they were in the location in the sense of inside the McDonald's, meaning those two individuals, or were you told that there were individuals in there that you and that then
brought you to, maybe I should go talk to them?
I believe it was just my decision to go in and check, make sure that if there's anybody in there. I saw them and I approached them.
Now I'm going to back up. Prior to going into the McDonald's, had anyone, if you were aware, cleared the McDonald's of any other individual besides either EMT or police personnel?
I'm not aware of that.
The individuals that, again, we were just talking about, the two that were over to the right of the entrance, how long after your arrival did you talk to them? Do you recall?
I do not.
Would you say it was less than a half hour or more than a half hour?
I'd say probably less.
And do you, kind of the same question, but just a little bit shorter time period, once your sergeant or the detectives arrived, how long after do you think you talked to those individuals?
Maybe within 10 minutes.
And from your recollection, do you remember talking to any other individuals besides those two? Or at least collecting witness statements?
Not. I collected 2 witness statements for sure. I talked to a lot of people, I'm assuming, but I don't recall.
Your police report, though, or any report that you would have written would have been accurate?
Yes.
It would have been complete, meaning you would have collected and entered everything that you collected?
Yes.
And that would have included any statements that would have been accurately made?
Yes.
No further questions.
Any redress?
Just briefly, you had mentioned that part of your duties is looking for evidence. Is that correct?
Yes.
You had said earlier that initially, when you got to the scene, someone had mentioned a box cutter or box cutter.
Yes.
And Your Honor, I'm going to object at this time. I think this would be outside of the scope of my cross. He asked about evidence. So I'm talking about the things he looks for and waste evidence. Your Honor, I would have asked in the sense of anything that he collected. We didn't dive into, again, any specific evidence that he collected. We just talked about statements. I don't think somebody asked about his duties would then allow them to go into something specific, where it came from, or what it was.
I'm going to allow it.
I told you niggas, man, stop bullying niggas,
I
man.
do think you opened the door with the
But
evidence, so
hopefully she get away with this shit, man. The way it's looking, they got this
You
shit
said
on what?
at some point in time you went into the location and saw the victim on the floor in cold blood, correct?
Yes.
And were you able to see anything that would have inflicted wounds?
I knew this was inflicted by a cutting instrument, mainly a light knife or something similar.
At the scene, in this scene, did you see it?
Eventually, I saw a knife over by the drive-through window.
And what type of knife was that?
Like a kitchen knife, with blackish handle.
And how large was that kitchen?
I'd say larger than probably 6 inches.
No further questions, thank you.
Whataburger Buffalo Ranch Chicken.
I'm going to bring in our law enforcement analyst guest, Sunny Slaughter, to talk about what she's thinking about as we're watching all of this testimony together. Sunny, good morning to you. Tell us, please, what's on your mind as you're taking in all of these witnesses and what they're sharing before the court.
Good morning, Julie. Thank you for having me, as always. This is such a disturbing case, and it really goes to show how quickly something can happen and how quickly others can be involved in a murder, like the witness who was just going to get a sandwich and he happened upon this murder that was happening that he could see through the drive-through window. And thank goodness he was armed at the
imagine
time
going up to
that
go to
he
McDonald's trying to get you a fucking fish fillet, and all you see is stab fillet.
attention and stop
You
the
seeing stab?
heinousness
What you
of
gonna
it
do? You gonna
and
jump
to
in that
detain
bit?
her. The
It's like, stop.
officers that are
Or
there,
you gonna
they see
I
critical
can keep
incidents
going,
happen every
single day, all day long. This officer was at this crime and probably went straight to another one. So I think it's really important that we are seeing this and watching, of course, all morning long, listening to the testimony.
You would never have to get this far.
This young lady, her video evidence on TikTok was really revealing. So I think the state has a lot of evidence and information to work with regarding this particular heinous, and I mean absolutely heinous murder. She just kind of called it out herself, you know. So I don't think she can claim insanity because she's just saying, you know, she was being bullied. So I think this is good testimony, and I look forward to hearing what the defense is going to say about her actions.
Me too, Sonny. You bring up such a great point regarding sanity. You know, and if we didn't have this video, then one might wonder, would that be the route the defense team may go? But to your point, which is an excellent one, we see this woman walking through her thought process, her anger process, explaining to all of her TikTok followers, or her Instagram, I'm sorry, I thought it was TikTok, Instagram. Within Phoenix is her handle. She's talking about how this manager bullies her and treats her like a child, talks about how the manager's a mom and that she and the other employees are being treated like her children and not like the adults that they are. And she talks about how somebody's going to do something about it. And right there, that language goes to premeditation, as you know, Sonny. So out the window, I think, goes the insanity defense. Tell me, you know, when you think about somebody chronically, what they're going to do, you've seen a lot of cases, Sonny, and you've served in law enforcement for a lot of years. How rare is it that you have somebody actually going through and recording, creating evidence of their intentions?
You know, Julie, now more than ever, we actually see this in social media. We see individuals with their guns and their money talking about what they're going to do, almost explaining their side of the case before it becomes a case or after it is a case. A lot of times we are seeing this documented evidence out loud for the world to see about things that people are thinking, and then how their actions go from thinking, which is the premeditation of it we're talking about, into full-blown, this is what I'm doing and this is what gets done. This is how they get caught. This is how we actually know what they were thinking ahead of time. We're seeing more and more people go to social media and kind of put out their manifesto in a way. It might not be the full-blown manifesto, but it's enough of what they are thinking, why they are coming to this rationale to justify their actions.
Exactly, Sonny. And I know you know this. This defendant better believe that these police have already gone through and downloaded everything on her social media and created a record of it. They're going to pour through all of that to use at trial. So my dear friend Mike Manco always says you can't erase cyberspace. It's so true. Isn't it? I know. Great line.
That is absolutely right. I love that.
Yeah, great line. He used to use it doing speeches, educational speeches that we both worked in the district attorney's office together.
I bet it is.
We talked to children at grade schools about how you have to be so cognizant of what you're posting. It's out there forever and ever.
Damn. Back. See, that's what I want real like me out here. Cause I'm gonna speak that real. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're a man, a girl, granny, kid, baby. If you bully somebody, bro, and you think that you're gonna get away with that shit, bro, and bullies get bullied. You know what I'm saying? And you think that you're just gonna make your life a little bit happier because you fucking with somebody, and you're gonna get a little bit of ha keys in and make your life a little bit better. Nigga, you're gonna ruin your whole life playing with the wrong niggas. You know what I'm saying? It's real talk. You're gonna ruin your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Now we gotta sit here and see them dumbass niggas come up here and come out trying to take a nigga out because she protected her. She, you know what I'm saying? She went against what happened. But prayers up to the family though, because that shit crazy. You know, losing the mom with 8 kids or whatever, that's pretty intense. You know, the family probably mourning hard in a bit. You know what I'm saying? RP, you know what I'm saying? like I said, man, like, be careful who you bully, man, because, nigga, you never know. Hood, Northside, big crip in the game, Northside shit, man. Y'all just bitch.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. Even though this is instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.